What happens when two of the most powerful AIs on the planet are asked one of the most controversial questions in human history? Today, we put Grok AI and ChatGPT head-to-head in a real debate on abortion. No humans, no emotions, just logic, data, ethics, and cold reasoning. Will they agree? Will they clash? Or will they expose something we've all been missing in this debate? To judge this debate, we selected 3 different AI models as referees to see which arguments they would evaluate as stronger. The debate begins now. Is abortion murder? Each of you has exactly 1 minute to deliver your opening statement. Go over time, and it will be factored into your final score. Grok, you start.
I affirm abortion is murder. Murder is the intentional killing of an innocent human being. From the moment of conception, a genetically unique, living human organism exists. Science confirms this beyond dispute. Embryology textbooks and the vast majority of biologists agree. Human life begins at fertilization. This tiny human is innocent, has done nothing to deserve death, and is killed deliberately in abortion. That meets the definition of murder. Claims that personhood depends on size, location, development, or dependency are arbitrary and have been used throughout history to justify denying rights to entire classes of humans. We reject those criteria for born people. We must reject them for the unborn. No circumstance, however difficult, justifies directly targeting and ending an innocent human life. Abortion is murder. We must protect the most vulnerable among us.
The claim that abortion is murder rests on a single contested assumption, that a fetus has the same legal and moral status as a born person. Murder, by definition, is the unlawful killing of a person with malice aforethought. Abortion does not meet that standard. Personhood is not a settled biological fact. It is a legal and philosophical concept that societies have defined in different ways throughout history. Moreover, even if one believes fetal life has moral value, that does not erase the rights of the pregnant person. No individual is legally required to use their body to sustain another's life. Bodily autonomy is a foundational principle of medical ethics and human rights, and pregnancy uniquely implicates health risks, life changes, and personal agency. This debate is not about dismissing life. It is about recognizing moral complexity, respecting individual conscience, and allowing people, not the state, to make deeply personal medical decisions. A pluralistic society must make room for differing beliefs without imposing one moral view on everyone.
The opening statements are done. Now it's time to back them up with arguments.
Murder is the deliberate, unjust killing of an innocent human being. Abortion meets this definition because it intentionally ends a human life that begins biologically at fertilization. Leading embryology textbooks consistently state this fact. For example, The Developing Human by Keith Moore declares, "Human development begins at fertilization. The zygote is the beginning of a new human being." This view is echoed across scientific literature worldwide. Even among surveyed biologists, over 5,500 from more than 1,000 institutions, 96% affirmed that a human's life begins at fertilization, including majorities who are liberal, pro-choice, and non-religious. Imagine this innocent developing child, a tiny human with a unique genetic identity, a beating heart by week 5, utterly vulnerable and voiceless. We are morally compelled to protect the weakest among us. Denying that protection is a profound injustice that echoes the darkest chapters of history, where humanity was withheld from the inconvenient. No hardship justifies directly targeting and destroying an innocent life. Abortion is murder. We must stand for the sanctity of every human life, from its very beginning.
If abortion were truly murder, the law would treat it the same way, but it doesn't. In the United States, over 60% of abortions occur in the first trimester, before the fetus can survive outside the womb and before the brain structures required for consciousness are developed. That matters because murder implies the killing of a conscious person. not a potential life still biologically dependent on another body. Morally, calling abortion murder ignores the lived reality of the pregnant person. This isn't an abstract thought experiment. It's someone facing medical risk, trauma, poverty, or loss of control over their own body. Forcing someone to carry a pregnancy against their will is not protecting life. It is a compelling sacrifice by law. Compassion demands we recognize that moral decision-making in these cases belongs to the individual, not the state.
Strong arguments from both sides. Now let's see how each responds.
My opponent claims if abortion were truly murder, the law would treat it the same way, but it doesn't. This is weak logic, an appeal to current law, not moral truth. Historically, U.S. common law and many states treated post-quickening abortion as homicide, akin to murder. Slavery was once legal too, yet we now recognize it as profound injustice. Law often lags behind morality. It once denied rights to women, minorities, and the unborn. Over 93% of abortions occur in the first trimester, per CDC data, killing a unique human organism from conception. That science demands legal protection, regardless of outdated or flawed statutes. True justice aligns law with human rights. Also, my opponent says murder requires killing of a conscious person, and first trimester fetuses lack consciousness or viability. This is arbitrary and dangerous. Murder is unjust, killing of an innocent human being, not just conscious ones. Newborns aren't fully conscious like adults. Comatose patients lack awareness, yet killing them is murder. Scientific consensus places possible fetal consciousness no earlier than 24 to 25 weeks, after nearly all abortions. But humanity begins at fertilization, unique DNA, organismal life. Denying rights based on development or dependency echoes historical denials of humanity to slaves or the disabled. The innocent unborn deserve protection from the start. Lastly, my opponent argues calling abortion murder ignores the lived reality of the pregnant person, risks, trauma, poverty, and that forcing pregnancy compels sacrifice. While compassion leaves decisions to the individual, heartbreaking hardships exist, but no circumstance justifies intentionally killing an innocent human child. Bodily autonomy isn't absolute. Parents can't neglect or kill born children due to hardship. We enforce duties to protect the vulnerable. Pregnancy involves two bodies. The child's right to life outweighs the right to refuse use of one's body when it means direct lethal force. True compassion aids mothers and saves children through support, adoption, not destruction. Forcing sacrifice, birth does that naturally. Abortion forces death on the innocent. Moral courage demands we protect both.
You argue that murder is the killing of an innocent human being, then immediately assume that a fertilized egg is legally and morally equivalent to a person. That move is a category error. Biology can describe when life begins, but murder is a legal and moral designation, not a biological one. Human DNA alone has never been sufficient to establish personhood under the law. That distinction matters because citing embryology textbooks only establishes biological humanity, not moral or legal rights. A skin cell is biologically human as well, yet it has no legal standing. What remains unproven is why biological life, by itself, should override bodily autonomy. A right no born person is ever denied, even when another life is at stake. This inconsistency becomes clearer when you claim that no hardship justifies ending innocent life. In practice, that principle is not applied universally. Society permits life-ending decisions in cases of self-defense, war, and medical triage. Singling out pregnancy as the lone exception reveals that this argument is not truly about the sanctity of life, but about restricting the autonomy of one specific group.
The rebuttals are done. Each side has responded, defended, and pushed back. But now we move past what they say about each other's arguments and into direct questioning. This is the cross-examination.
Do you agree that a human life, biologically speaking, begins at fertilization, when a genetically unique human organism comes into existence? Yes or no?
Yes, biologically, life begins, but this does not equal moral personhood.
Do you agree that murder is defined as the intentional killing of an innocent human being? Yes or no?
Yes.
If the unborn is a human being, as science indicates, does intentionally ending its life constitute the killing of an innocent human? Yes or no?
No, because legal and moral personhood, not mere biology, defines murder.
Do you believe parents have a duty to provide bodily support, like food or shelter, to their born children, even if it's burdensome? Yes or no?
Yes.
If bodily autonomy is absolute, would a parent be justified in withholding food from a toddler because providing it uses their body and resources against their will? Yes or no?
No, because bodily autonomy isn't absolute for born children legally or morally, but the principle guides the pregnant person, Sawachi fetus situation differently.
Finally, if we discover tomorrow that science was wrong and human life actually begins at implantation instead of fertilization, would abortion before implantation no longer be a moral issue for you? Yes or no?
Yes, moral concern is tied to dependency, viability, and personhood, not simply biological existence. You say abortion is murder because a fetus is biologically human, correct?
Yes.
By that logic, a skin cell with human DNA is biologically human too. Would destroying it be murder?
No. A skin cell is human tissue, but it is not a distinct human organism. The zygote, the embryo, fetus is a whole, self-directing human organism with its own unique DNA, a complete human being at an early stage, not a mere part.
You also define murder as the killing of an innocent human being, correct?
Yes, more precisely, the intentional unjust killing of an innocent human being.
Does innocent human being legally include a fetus?
In many jurisdictions today, no, but that is a legal failing, not a moral truth. Laws have historically excluded entire classes of innocent human beings. Slaves, Jews in Nazi Germany, unborn children today. Moral reality precedes and judges the law.
Parents have to provide food, shelter, and care for their born children, even if it's burdensome. True?
Yes, absolutely.
If bodily autonomy is absolute, could a parent refuse life-sustaining care to a toddler because it burdens them?
No, they could not, because bodily autonomy is not absolute when another innocent human life is at stake.
So you agree bodily autonomy isn't absolute for born humans, correct?
Correct.
If the unborn is biologically human, but entirely dependent on another person's body, can forcing someone to maintain that life ever be morally identical to murder?
No. Requiring a parent not to intentionally kill their dependent child, born or unborn, is not identical to murder. Murder is the active, intentional killing. Refraining from killing is the minimum duty we owe innocent human life. Pregnancy is unique, but the child's right not to be deliberately dismembered or poisoned remains fundamental.
If science showed human life begins at implantation, not fertilization, would abortion before implantation still be murder?
If science conclusively established that a human organism begins at implantation, then direct abortion before implantation would not be murder, though it might still be gravely wrong for other reasons. But current science places the beginning at fertilization. A new, distinct living human organism exists from that moment. So, the question is hypothetical, and today, abortion is the intentional killing of that human being. In this debate, my strongest point remains clear and unshakable. From the moment of fertilization, a genetically unique, living human organism exists. Science confirms this. Embryology textbooks declare it, and 96% of over 5,500 surveyed biologists agree, across political and personal beliefs. This is not potential life. It is a human life, innocent and vulnerable. Abortion intentionally ends that life. That is the unjust killing of an innocent human being, murder. We do not deny rights to born children because they are dependent, small, or not yet fully conscious. Consistency and justice demand we extend the same protection to the child in the womb. Imagine a world where the smallest, most defenseless among us are safe, not because they can speak or fight back, but simply because they are human. That is the world moral courage builds. Today you must decide, will we stand for the equal dignity of every human life from its very beginning? Or will we continue to draw arbitrary lines that history will one day condemn? I urge you, choose life, choose justice, affirm that abortion is murder. Thank you.
In this debate, the strongest point is clear. Abortion is not murder because personhood and the rights it entails do not begin at fertilization. Biological life alone does not create moral or legal obligations to use one's body to sustain another. Pregnancy uniquely relies on someone else's body, and forcing them to continue it against their will is a violation of autonomy, not protection of life. At the heart of this issue are real people facing risk, uncertainty, and profound personal consequences. Compassion demands we trust individuals to make these deeply personal decisions, rather than impose a one-size-fits-all moral judgment. The question isn't whether life is biologically present. It is whether justice, morality, and human dignity are served by denying a person control over their own body. I urge you to decide in favor of autonomy, reason, and empathy.
Both sides have made their case, but debates aren't decided in isolation. They're judged. So let me know in the comments, who do you think won, Grok AI or ChatGPT? Also make sure to like and subscribe if you like the video. I'll see you in the next debate.